it's been a tough road, and most people with sickle cell, I would say all,
Yeah.
are extremely patient
Sure.
people. They don't like to see us coming because we're screaming in pain, most of us.
This is an episode or all the time?
During our pain crisis.
Okay.
So until we can get some type of relief, usually we have a very, very high pain tolerance before it even gets to that point. And a lot of us will avoid going to the ER until the very last minute. I used to do it all the time when I was a kid.
Welcome back again. I'm Henry Mason. I'm Healthcare Henry, and this is our stories, healthcare stories with Healthcare Henry. Today we're joined by someone who is deeply, deeply important, and this one was very special to me, and I wanted to share her story of Imani Scott. She has sickle cell, and I want to really go through what it looks like, some of the things that people don't talk about, particularly those who are African American, and figuring out what it is that we're here for today. For her, we want to find out if we can find a donor for her, a blood donor, and we're going to talk to her about her story, and we want to say, Imani, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you for inviting us into your home. This is a beautiful home.
Thank you, Henry.
Yeah. Purple is my favorite color. Green is my second favorite color.
Okay.
So everything in here just makes me feel calm. I feel like I'm at the spa a little bit. So I love it. I also love your hair.
Thank you.
It makes me feel good.
Thank you.
Yeah, it makes me feel good.
It makes me feel good.
That's good. You look good. You look good.
Thank you.
And Imani, it means faith.
Faith
Faith.
and belief.
Faith and belief.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where'd the name come from?
So my dad named me.
Okay.
My mom wanted to name me Charles Etta, which my dad's name is Charles.
Charles,
so
I'm guessing.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
My dad saved me. But no, he said my name was going to be Imani, and boy, has it fit.
Yeah. I mean, truly has. And because when you're talking about what faith looks like, are you religious at all?
Yes.
You mind sharing that?
Yeah, I'm a Christian.
What denomination?
I'm non-denominational.
Okay.
I'll go into some of that.
Okay.
As to why.
But you've been going to church your whole life to some degree, to some type of church.
Yes.
Parents are both Christian?
Yeah.
And so, because when I think of the name Imani, I don't know why I think Kwanzaa, for whatever that is okay?
It's one of the 7 principles.
Okay. Yeah, I had a girlfriend named Imani in college. That's how interesting enough. So that's where I was like, wait, this sounds, I know this one, right?
Right.
Yeah. So no, that's super interesting. And so you're sickle cell. You have sickle cell.
I have sickle cell.
When did you first find out?
Okay. So when I was born in the 80s.
I was born in the 80s too.
Okay, 80s baby.
Yeah.
They did not test people of African American descent for sickle cell disease. So I ended up having pneumonia 6 times. And my parents kept saying, why is my child, every time she gets a cold, it goes into pneumonia? Like, why is it so severe? Like, what's going on? And they talked about sickle cell disease. And my dad is a physician, and my mom is a teacher. And when at that time, they were given information, but it was limited. So both of my parents having the trait, which they knew at the time of my conception, but they didn't understand the severity of the disease, really. Even my father being a physician, I don't think really understood the consequences of if someone with a trait and the trait they have, they're going to have the disease. They're going to have a child with the disease. Yeah. Now, how severe the disease is depends on what kind of sickle cell they're holding in their genes. But they're going to have a child with the disease. So now there's testing. I think in the 90s they started testing, and all African American babies are tested for it. So you would find out then if you had it or if you were a carrier of the trait.
So you said they didn't test African Americans in the 80s. Did they test anyone else? Or
No.
So no one got tested in the 80s. Okay.
No.
And in sickle cell, from my experience, it does show up more with African Americans. Is that correct?
So
Or is that just a myth?
sickle cell is against malaria.
Okay.
People with sickle cell cannot get malaria.
Okay.
Okay, so people in the Mediterranean, people in African descent, mainly where there's large bodies of water and there was a chance for malaria, those were people with sickle cell, but it is not a Black disease.
Why do people think that?
People think that because majority African Americans have it. That's who they see with it.
Gotcha. Explain.
And so it's kind of been labeled that, but it's not. You're not able to just have it if you're Black, and you shouldn't think that either.
Okay.
Because, down in the Mediterranean, all of that, you could be a carrier of sickle cell disease as well.
Got you. And so you're going back and forth, you got pneumonia, that we're talking infant to toddler stage roughly?
Yes.
At what point did we realize this was sickle cell?
I was about 4 years old, and I started having pain crisis. I probably started having pain crisis before then. They just didn't know that's what it was.
Especially if you're not talking.
Right.
So in these pain crises, as much as you can remember, as much as you've been told, what was that like? How did you?
So when I was younger, I was very, very, very sick. I was in and out of the hospital all the time. And the pain from a sickle cell crisis is like no other pain imaginable. Yeah. It is not, I've given birth. It's not like childbirth.
Wow.
It's worse than childbirth. It honestly feels like something is crushing and grinding your bones and your joints just nonstop. And what makes it so bad is you don't know when it's going to end.
Do you know when it's going to start?
No.
So is it just
it can come out of blue, out of the blue, complete blue. I could be having fun as a kid, playing and having a good time, or I can have certain triggers that things that I've learned over the years through trial and error that let me know or that may bring on a crisis. Like, for example, I can't be underneath air conditioning, like direct air. I might be a little warm in my house because I don't do like direct air. I can't go from hot to cold or cold to hot abruptly. Like, I can't get in a swimming pool and then a hot tub. I'd have to get out, completely let my body regulate its temperature, and then get in one or the other.
But what about something simple? Because you're from Chicago. So I'm from Chicago, South Side Chicago. I went to, and in the winters, brutal outside.
Brutal.
So what is it like? I mean, this is just everyday stuff, right?
For a sickle cell patient, Chicago is one of the hardest places to live because the weather is fickle. It changes a lot. It's extremely cold. We feel that cold down in our bones. Of course, sickle cell anemia is anemia. So we usually are people that stay cold all of the time, but we feel the cold even colder than everyone else, and then can't get our body back warm.
At all, or it just takes a long time?
It takes a long time.
What's a long time?
I mean, you're gonna have to do some methods to try and get yourself warmed up,
Talking
like
about blankets, coats,
blankets,
whatever you can
yeah,
find.
everything like that.
And
So
then,
growing up in the 80s, as you know, we
yeah,
didn't have snow days. We had to still
zero.
go out
And
and
I
get
walked to
it.
school.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ooh, yes.
bro.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, luckily I was a car rider.
Yeah, I walked to Morgan Park. Yeah, yeah.
But I went to the school my mother taught at.
What school was
So
that?
Beasley.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
South Side.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school in the suburbs at Homewood Flossmoor.
I know Homewood Flossmoor, way
Okay.
out south.
Yep.
Way out south.
Yep.
Okay,
I had
awesome.
moved to the suburbs by then.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, and I guess this time, so now you know you have sickle cell.
Oh, yeah.
And what age did they actually diagnose you with this?
About 4.
So at 4, do you, if they're not normally testing toddlers or at all, was it your dad being a physician that prompted this, or what do you think kind of gave them the idea?
Just the pneumonia.
Just the pneumonia?
The pneumonia, because I kept getting, every time I would get a cold, it would go into pneumonia.
So you're in the hospital all the time,
Yeah.
in and out of the hospital. So, and this lasted for how long?
Well, what do you mean, the pneumonia or the
In and out of the hospital. Was that
Oh, that lasted me for a very long time. From that point on until I'll say about I was 9 years old, and my parents are divorced, so my dad moved to Georgia when I was 4.
Okay.
So at the point I was 9, I had 6 specialists at the University of Chicago, and I went to Laura Beta Children's Hospital. And oh boy, they told my mother to put me in hospice. It's nothing else that they could do.
At 9 years old?
Yeah. It's nothing else that they could do. They said that my kidneys were failing. They said that, and that's due to the sickle cell being rough on your organs and the medications that you have to take. I was crisising. I was in and out of the hospital probably about every 30 days. And my mother was devastated. And her and my sister, I was in a very bad crisis one night. And they were driving around with me in the car, from what I remember. And we went to, well, let me back up. My mother was raised, and I was raised Roman Catholic.
So you weren't always that's Christian.
That's Christian, but we were very strict Roman Catholic. Okay, in our family.
Not a lot of African Americans in Chicago, Roman Catholic.
No,
just for
not a
reference,
lot.
Yeah.
No.
I actually don't think I've met any.
Now you have.
Yeah.
It wasn't until my mother remarried my stepfather that I went to a Baptist church, and this is why I'm non-denominational now.
Because you went from Roman Catholic
church, you could go in your PJs for an hour and it was over.
Yeah.
To all day Southern Baptist.
Is in Chicago?
Yes, True Vine Missionary Baptist Church. Shout out Pastor Lewis.
I know True Vine.
Do you?
Yes.
How do you know True Vine? It's so small.
My grandfather was a pastor in Chicago for Emmanuel Baptist Church on 83rd and Damon.
Oh, wow.
So I'm very familiar with a lot of churches and pastors in Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, very familiar. Yeah.
Shout out to True Vine and all the people that prayed for me at True Vine, because it's a lot of people. That I know that I don't know.
Right. And they're still praying for you, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, a lot of people have prayed for me.
And so this is at 9. And I want to make sure that, because one of the things that people are talking about throughout the years, particularly in America with African Americans, is this pain crisis, right? And the belief that so many physicians have, or the system has, that we don't feel pain the same.
Right.
Was that something you felt that it was prevalent for you as a child?
Oh, yeah. I've had so many experiences with that. Oh, it can't be that bad. Oh, you're exaggerating. And see, one thing about sickle cell, it's a blood disorder disease with your blood. So it can move anywhere your blood can move. So I could be limping on one leg, on my right leg in the morning, and my left leg in the evening. So people would think I was lying because I switched legs. No, it switched positions.
Switch positions.
Yeah. Or any number of things. As sickle cell patients, we've learned to have an incredible amount of tolerance and patience, and having to deal with nurses, doctors, that just think you're lying.
This is so interesting because, and a lot of times I think people try to pinpoint and say, well, it's just doctors of other races. Did you have issues with this with Black doctors as well?
I had issues with Black doctors, white nurses, Black nurses.
They just didn't believe you.
Yeah. I've had, of course, incredibly great healthcare workers that really love their job and are really here to help people. And you can tell that they have a calling on their life for that. And that has been really special too. But yeah, it's been a tough road, and most people with sickle cell, I would say all are extremely patient people. They don't like to see us coming because we're screaming in pain, most of us.
This is an episode or all the time?
During our pain crisis.
Okay.
So until we can get some type of relief, usually we have a very, very high pain tolerance before it even gets to that point. And a lot of us will avoid going to the ER until the very last minute. I used to do it all the time when I was a kid.
Oh, wow.
I would not want to go to the ER. One, you don't want to stop your life,
especially as a child,
to go into the hospital. And then you don't know how long you're going to be there. And then you're away from your parent usually. I was blessed that I had a mother that would stay with me a lot of the times. But people have to go to work.
Yeah.
You know, my mother almost lost her job plenty of times due to my health.
Something that's in America, like I'm speaking for America, that's one of the issues that we do see a lot of. And I think, which is why I believe we have to figure out some type of pattern where certain senators do need to come from certain backgrounds, because you're saying things without any point of reference. So if you don't understand the healthcare system and how, if someone has to go with you, this person can't go to work. This person can't go to work. How are they going to feed you? How are they going to feed themselves?
Right.
And that's one of the issues that we have. And I think for you, have you ever experienced a doctor who also has sickle cell?
Other than my psychiatrist now? No.
That would be an interesting one to do for me, because I would wonder, because I see pain patients mostly with hospice patients with meds to the bone. That's kind of what people, when they compare the two, that's what they compare. And that's excruciating. Obviously, I didn't have it. My mother had it, so I know what it looks like. But I would wonder if there was a doctor that had sickle cell who was more compassionate and had more empathy and understood that, would that change the trajectory of these types of cases?
I'm sure. And And understand this, when I was younger, everyone told me I was going to die. They didn't tell me, I didn't have any experience of any sickle cell. I didn't know any sickle cell person over 30.
Mm-hmm.
I had a life expectancy of 12.
How old are you now?
I'm 40, gonna be 43
Congrats.
on my birthday next month.
I'm a Christian. That's a blessing.
Yes.
And I mean beyond a blessing. And I mean, that's just straight from God. That's
I used
favor.
to say,
Yeah.
and this is why you have to be careful of your words. If I could just make it to my 40s, I would be happy.
And you're how old?
I'm 43.
43.
Well, I'll be 43.
Is this something you said when's your birthday?
May 21st.
And is this something you say as a child, if I can make it to my 40s, I'll be happy?
Uh-huh.
And you made it to your 40s?
Yeah.
Are you happy?
I'm happy that, and I want to make it a whole lot longer.
So now our new phrase is, if we can make it to our 50s, then our 60s, and our 70s. I don't see why not.
My thing is just, God, let me, my thing now is I want to see my great-grandchildren.
Speaking of children, so and I guess how did that play out? They thought you were going to pass, or they say put her in hospice at 9,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now you go through life, and every day are you just kind of on pins and needles, or how do you enjoy going to high school with this on the back of your mind?
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you. So back to, I kind of drifted off because I talked about my faith.
Mm-hmm.
That night when I was 9 in the car with my mother and my sister, she didn't know where to take me. She was just praying and driving, and it was the middle of a rainstorm. And I was screaming in pain in the back, and they took me to some church that was having a revival, and they prayed over me. And apparently somebody gave her the number to this doctor that was a naturopathic doctor. And her name was Dr. Alvinia Fulton. I don't know if you ever heard of her. But much like Dr. Seavey,
Mm-hmm.
this 90-some-year-old woman, when I went to her as my mother's last resort, came up with a concoction of herbs and vitamins and minerals and had me go through this whole day-long consultation in her herb shop. And I don't remember exactly where it was because I was a kid and I don't remember streets and stuff from then. But that woman took me from being on all these medications with the specialist, with hospice, to well and 60 days.
This is at 9 years old still, right?
Yeah.
So you go from excruciating pain.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about putting you on hospice.
Mm-hmm.
And you go to a natural doctor
Mm-hmm.
who puts you on. Do you remember what it was?
No. Everything is unlabeled, just stinky herbs.
And didn't taste good, I'm sure.
No, I mean, they were like pills.
Okay.
And I've been taking pills all my life, so
Throw them back.
Throw them back. It was about, I want to say 20 pills 3 times a day.
But it worked.
It worked, whatever it was.
How long did you have to keep taking the pills? Are you still taking them now? Or?
I wish I knew where they were.
Interesting.
Unfortunately, Dr. Fulton died of old age because she was, who knows how old she really was.
And probably looked gorgeous.
She was.
I can only imagine.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, glowing.
Beautiful skin. I remember that. I remember her face and her hands more than anything. Just soft, beautiful skin. Strong too. And was working as a businesswoman. Like I said, when I met her, she was in her 90s.
Women in business. I love it. I really love this.
And she wanted to groom me to help take over her shop. She needed somebody to take over her shop. But, I was just a kid at the time. And unfortunately, she passed away. Her shop closed down. And I was never able to get those herbs and vitamins ever again.
What was the name of the shop? Do you remember?
I don't.
What year were you born?
82.
So this was 1991?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know about where the shop was, just roughly?
My mom would know. I can't think of exactly where it was. It was on the south side, though.
Okay.
But I can't think of exactly where it is.
I'm sure that lady has a book somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I'm almost 100 people like that. Now we have technology. We didn't have any of that when we were growing up.
Right.
I would just wonder if we can get in touch with her family and see if there's a book somewhere out there that could really, because if that got you from
and
suffering.
I've been chasing that ever since. I've been trying to find other doctors and have just been unsuccessful in chasing that. But when I say it got me well and healthy and strong, I was a ballet dancer my whole life.
And ballet dancers, you all get up on your tippy toes. To me, looks like one of the most painful things I've ever seen.
Correct.
Okay.
And and I got promoted to point. That's what it's called when it's up all the way on your tippy toes. I got promoted to point class, which I wasn't strong enough to do before. Right. And just kept going in the hospital. So you miss, everything moving forward and just all of those things. And then so that was from 9 till about 13, I want to say I had her.
So, but the pills were 60 pills a day from 9 to 13?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what got you.
Yeah.
Because you still have sickle cell, but the symptoms weren't there.
Correct.
And so that's how you got through from there to 13 is about freshman year of high school, roughly.
Correct.
So now you move to the suburbs.
Right.
The doctors, I guess a little further away, but you still, if you could, you still get these.
Well, after about 13, 14, that's when she passed. So then I didn't get them anymore, but just the residuals of taking them for so long, I assume, kept me going.
For how long?
Really through high school. I mean, I still had a crisis here and there, but I was pretty healthy.
So up until you graduate, 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So you go through this from 4 to 9 through the healthcare system.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't help you, for lack of a better phrase. They just couldn't help you.
They couldn't.
Whether it be due to medical advances not being there, doctors not understanding you, and then you meet this natural doctor at 9.
Yes.
You only take her medications for 4 years, but you're good for even 5 years after that.
Mm-hmm.
We got to find this lady. We got to find something.
Who are you telling?
Hey, that's so interesting because it's rare we talk about putting children on hospice now.
Mm-hmm.
So I can only imagine, because to be fair with you, people that don't know, hospice started late 80s, early 1990s. So
it was new when they asked me to be on it.
Almost makes me think, for that to happen at that time, they probably thought you only had a couple of days to live because the way hospice was then versus how it is now. Of course, now you got people like President Carter who are on for 2 years, but then you're talking about a couple of days to a week. And that's for someone who's geriatric, so a senior. So a 9-year-old at that time, you're really talking about a couple of days.
Yeah.
So you went from having a couple of days to live to 9 more years of essentially good health, feeling good,
yes,
doing ballet,
yes,
participating in school. Were you able to date?
I was able to date.
Okay.
I was able to participate in school activities.
Yeah.
I was able to be not so absent, which was wonderful because I used to get my IV in my left arm so I could do my homework with my right arm.
Whew. So you're talking about daily activities, because at that point you got to brush your teeth, you got to brush your hair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's funny, you thought about that as a child.
Yeah.
I mean, just
Yeah.
having that wherewithal is also huge to me.
Because every time I have to come back to school and make up for that time that's missed. I have to make up that work. That work doesn't just disappear because, oh, you were in the hospital. No, that happens if you're in the hospital maybe once or twice.
Right.
Not every 90 days.
And you're also battling the time, right? Because today's time, we have a little bit more information on sickle cell.
Yeah.
But back then, they almost were probably thinking to themselves, well, she just is out again, or sometimes she'll just pass away.
Well, let me tell you.
Okay.
Let me tell you what people thought, because I got bullied for what people thought. Also, in the 90s was the AIDS epidemic. So they associated my illness with AIDS. So I got bullied a lot in school.
And this is around the time Magic Johnson got AIDS.
And guess who Magic Johnson went to?
Who?
My doctor.
No way.
Hand to God.
So because we're all there, everyone's sitting here, they're trying to figure out, well, how is he able to do this? He goes to your doctor in Chicago. He gets some medications. And I would wonder if he even has her book. Because if he's still flowing and thriving, what is it that he's still taking? Wow. Wow. That's amazing. So you do all of this. You go up until you're 18. What happens at 18?
So at 18, I get real grown. And I think that I'm
That's
super
normal.
grown.
That's normal for her. That's normal.
Yeah. So I decide to run off and get married.
Oh, no, that's not normal. I'm sorry. I spoke too soon. I said that's not normal. No, that's not normal.
Well, in my mind,
okay,
who knows how many years I have? YOLO. In my mind, one of the things that I wanted most in this world was to be a mother. I knew I'm a good girl. My mother taught me you get married.
You get married first.
And then you conceive children.
Right.
That's how it goes.
Right.
Happily ever after, so to speak. And well, my mother said she wasn't talking. The joke is she was talking to my older sisters, not to me. But I was the one at home listening.
That was the way. I got you. So now she's like, well, she took my advice, but Jesus, not at 18. Not at 18.
So my mom almost passes out, which I could understand now as a mother, but then of course not. Because she's thinking, I did all these years to put into this girl to keep her alive and on this planet, and then she runs off and gets married. So so I run off and get married, but I also go to college simultaneously.
How'd you meet him?
I met him on a blind date that my best friend hooked me up with, and she said, "Don't get attached. This is just to stop making you sad about your boyfriend
from high school."
Yes.
So we call
my
that
high school sweetheart. So he was a rebound. Yes.
A rebound.
Yes. And he was very persistent because I was not interested, and he was very persistent.
Why didn't you like him? You can say it.
Because I loved my high school sweetheart.
It had nothing to do with him. It was all about your ex.
Yeah.
And that broke off because
just my mind was 20 years ahead. That's all.
Which is normal for girls and guys, I think, when
Yeah.
we're the same age.
Yeah.
So now you
But even more so because me being sick just
everything is.
elevated everything.
Are you always thinking about your end? Because when you say you got married at 18 because you want to have children, your whole life, are you always thinking about, well, I could die at some point? Or
I don't think like that. And
Okay.
I thank God that he gave me my mother, really, because she was so strong that she always kept me, she always kept me in a sickle cell support group.
What does that look like?
So back then it was all the people that come to the hospital come to one room on a specific day, usually one time a month, and just talk about their feelings and how it is to have the disease and relate with other people who have the disease.
So you didn't feel alone.
But they were all children. Like I said, I didn't know anybody grown with it.
Were they all Black?
They were all Black, but they were all children. Different ages.
Sure.
But they were all children.
And so that kind of helps you understand that I may be a little different, but ideally there are other people that still have this. So you had a community.
Yes.
So you didn't feel alone through this process. And how long were you in this support group?
A couple of years.
Couple of years?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is what got you through emotionally, right? This is, did people become your friends as well, or?
Not necessarily.
Okay. So
my
just in the
friends.
group. Okay.
They were just, hey, we come here, we all experience the same thing. We can all relate to one another.
Sure.
And that was pretty much it.
Was something that was prevalent in that group the pain threshold and people not believing that you are all Black people not feeling pain the same way?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How did you all get through that as children?
You learn that you can't always express to everyone your emotion, even though you're feeling it at that time. And you do your best to try to calmly explain to someone what's going on with you and pray to God that someone hears you.
What saddens me the most about this is because you said a second ago that a lot of the times you don't even express pain until it's at a point where you actually can't bear it anymore.
Right.
So you've already gone to a point when you're expressing it of, this is actually where I'm breaking.
Even now, I'll get frustrated and not know why I'm frustrated and realize you're in pain. Just take some medicine. Take some medicine. Don't be in pain.
And with your pain regimen, is it something that you take all the time? Is it a narcotic or what is?
Yeah, it's a narcotic. I started with lower dose pain medicine, and now I'm up to a very high dose of pain.
What's high dose? Are we talking Dilaudid or are we talking morphine?
Yeah, I take Dilaudid.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all day long.
Yeah. I've taken morphine for years, but they said that's probably what messed up my kidneys.
More than likely.
Yeah. So they took me off of that, but it was already after the damage had been done, but not to do any further damage. And so now I'm on Dilaudid.
Is it working more? Is it working better for you?
It's working about the same.
Okay. And because I want to make sure I don't get too far off track because I'm interested to hear this story about eloping.
Okay.
It's for me. It's just like, I've never been married before.
Okay.
I'm 36. I could not have imagined, even at this age, getting married at 18. How old was the gentleman at the time? 19. So basically the same age. So you're both kids.
Yeah.
Who had a job?
Neither one of us.
How did you eat?
So we went to school.
Oh, college.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Southern Illinois University.
SIU.
SIU.
Salukis.
Carbondale. Yep.
Salukis. Okay.
Salukis.
Okay. How was that?
Yep.
How was that? Because now you've exhausted your pain regimen or your sickle cell regimen from your other doctor. Now you're back.
I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't know that I had exhausted it.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just feeling good like normal.
Yeah.
And I get down to SIU. I have a big problem. I have a crisis, and they don't know how to handle it because they're a small town, farm town,
Carbondale.
Illinois.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they wouldn't know a sickle cell from anything.
But your husband understood your disease to some degree because he'd never seen you have a flare up, really.
He's seen me have pain here and there, but not really an explosive thing. But one thing about me, even in my, because I'm divorced now, but even in my singlehood now, I have to tell people so early that I have sickle cell because, like I said, something could happen where it comes on
a date,
on a first date, you know, on just a regular gathering, just even where we sit in a restaurant matters.
Does that hinder you? Or are you afraid sometimes to even go out because you might say, I don't know if I haven't had one in a while, could be coming. Is that something you think about?
I don't live my life in fear.
That's beautiful.
I don't live my life in fear.
You live your life in faith.
Yes.
Imani.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and as you are going, I guess, in Carbondale, going to school, you have this flare up. What do you do if there's no hope?
My mom has me medevaced by ambulance from SIU to the University of Chicago because
she ain't playing.
She is the truth. Like, I don't know how to this day she did that.
Yeah.
That's a 5-hour drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
In an ambulance.
Yeah.
I don't know how that woman did that. I still don't know.
God, I mean, and you hadn't seen the bill for that.
Not my child. Not as long as I got this Blue Cross Blue Shield.
That's a mother's love.
And yes, and she got me back up to Chicago. And I didn't have another flare up until, they said I wouldn't have any children.
When did they say this?
They said this when I was a kid.
So
they said it would, because of my sickle cell, it would be hard to conceive. It would be hard to be well while I was pregnant. I would probably be on bed rest if I was pregnant. For the entire time, I'd be high risk. Something could happen to the baby. Something could happen to me. Did that stop me? Of course not, because I wanted to be a mother more than anything. And so I said, husband, let's try to conceive now, because nothing will probably happen for years, if anything. So I'm going to get off birth control. We're going to try to conceive. We tried, nothing's happened. Then after that hospital trip, come back to school. And then we're trying. And then one day I go to the local Walmart and pick up a rotisserie chicken for dinner. And then suddenly I took a bite of the chicken. Oh, that's pretty good. And then I turned around and the whole chicken was gone. And I said, I ate that whole chicken. Now, I know I'm a greedy girl,
Not that greedy.
but not that greedy. I ate both of our dinner before he got off from working school. He was working by that time.
Uh-huh.
And we were living in the married student housing, and they
Never
have
heard of
married student housing there. And they also have a program for mothers that are single mothers that can get housing with their children that's not at the dorms.
Shout
at
out to SIU.
So
Oh,
shout out to SIU.
Wow.
Shout out to his brother Jason, who showed us the manuscript.
Yeah.
And we followed the manuscript.
The program. Yeah. Got you.
And they did that all the way through graduate school. But when I got pregnant, that's when my health started going down.
How old are you?
I'm 18 still. I'm going on 19. Yeah, because I had just turned like a fresh 18 when we got married. I turned 18 May 21st. We got married June 19th.
Okay. How long between your first date and getting married? Because it seemed like it couldn't have been that long.
I don't know.
Because you left high school, you had a high school sweetheart.
I had a high school sweetheart up until junior year. He left my junior year.
Okay.
So my senior year, I was with my ex-husband.
Got you. Okay. So it's still about a year. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And now you, by the grace of God, you get pregnant.
By the grace of God, I get pregnant.
You're 19.
I am the happiest,
thrilled,
pregnant person in the world.
Okay.
Thrilled, but I know I got to go home because they can't handle my health in Carbondale.
You drop out of school?
Dropped out of school.
Went back to Chicago?
Went back to Chicago.
That's got to be tough.
It was tough. I left my husband to finish up his semester.
Yeah.
And then I came back spring semester. So
had you had the baby already?
No. I just found out I was pregnant. Okay. So I didn't have the baby until I was 19.
Okay. So you go back home, then you come back.
I come back, stay with my mom.
Okay.
My mom takes care of me. And my mom and his dad lived pretty much down the street from each other. We could walk. Mm-hmm. So I stayed with my mom. He stayed with his dad. After he finished school, came home for the summer. He stayed with his dad, and we were working out our stuff. And it was at that point he pretty much realized, I don't want this much responsibility.
Well, he's a kid though, right? He's 19, right. 20. He's right. 20, he's a year older than you.
Right.
So he's 20 and he's hit with this realization.
It's here now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want this responsibility. So he starts drifting off.
What does that mean?
He just checked out of our relationship and just left me pregnant by myself pretty much. And I, of course, was depressed because that's my husband. You know, I expected more from him.
Yeah.
Too much I expected from
a 19-year-old, 20-year-old.
A 20-year-old. Yeah. Now, as an adult, I realize that. Yeah. But still, you know, he bit off more than he could chew.
Yeah. And did that stress cause any other flare-ups? Because we know that stress particularly...
Right. So it caused a couple, but for the most part, I was so happy being a pregnant lady that my pregnancy went along beautifully.
You weren't bedridden?
I was not bedridden.
You lived life as normal as you could?
I lived life. Yeah. I went to community college. I took classes.
You still went back to school?
I went back to school.
What did you study?
Well, initially, I was studying biology because I wanted to be a doctor.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. And then when I got pregnant, I was like, nope, too much
That's too
school.
much. You'll be in school forever.
No,
Yeah.
I'll be in school forever,
Yeah.
my whole life.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was like, well, maybe I'll do business. So then I went into business. Then I ultimately went into health information systems.
Okay. Is that IT?
It's like the business / everything on the paperwork side of a hospital.
So is that like the EMR system? What is that?
Yeah, it's like anything that I could literally do anything in a hospital setting that's not directly working with the patient.
So just not clinical.
Yeah.
Okay. So you finished community college, but you have your child first.
Oh yeah.
Boy or girl?
Girl.
Girl. What was her name?
Alana Nadia Cade.
Okay. So this is your first child. You have her at 20?
I have her at 19.
You have her at 19. You go on to finish community college. Are you still married?
I'm going to I take some more classes.
Okay.
I did not finish, but I'll take some more classes. The things that you don't know, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't know a lot about school. I knew that you went.
Right.
I knew that you obtain a degree.
Sure.
I thought there was only one way to do that, which was just go and do your 4 years, and that was it. I started over in school a lot.
When you say started over, like new major every time?
Like new major, new school, just.
Why though?
Because I didn't know any better. I didn't know that, like, okay, you take your credits from this place and then you move them to this place and then you stay at one place so that you can finish.
Yeah.
And that's probably, I'm like 12 credits away from having a degree. And that I never finished. But because I kept starting over and over. And every time I would get sick, I would start over, or life would happen, and then I would start over. I just go start over as a freshman in a new school.
So did you ever finish?
No.
So you never finished. So you had your child, and are you still married though? So you're still married, and then you're going in and out of schools.
Yeah.
Are you still having pain episodes? What's going on? Because you're out of the medication now.
Yeah.
So now you're being rushed back to the hospital. Where are we with that?
Yeah, I'm not that often, but yes.
So you believe there's still some residual effects, because if you're not doing, are you taking any medication at this time at all? At
that time, I wasn't taking anything. I wasn't taking anything how I was supposed to be taking it. In my 20s, I was over medicine.
Yeah, no, really. I mean, you were taking 20 pills from 9 to 13.
Yeah.
I can't do the math, but if I had a calculator, I mean, you're talking 60 times 365 times 5, you know.
Right.
That's
a lot. Just 9 to 13. That's not even including all the pharmaceuticals I was on before that.
And the IV treatments.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Right.
It's a lot.
And when I just got healthy, naively, I was just like, okay, I'll roll with this until it rolls out.
So you have your first child.
I have my first child.
You're 19.
I'm 19.
And
I'm still married to my husband.
Okay.
Me and him are having problems. We're living separately. I start going to school and moving on in life, and he's, oh, baby, I want you back. I actually come to Atlanta with my newborn.
Baby.
And I tell my dad, hey, you know, I've always wanted to come to Atlanta. I think I want to come to Atlanta now.
And I don't blame you. Sickle cell, getting away from that freezing temperature.
Yeah. I had always wanted to come to Atlanta. And the truth is, had I gotten into Spelman, we would have never got married because I would have left. but I got waitlisted. And I
Okay.
didn't know that waitlisted doesn't mean you're not accepted. It means
Correct.
you're waitlisted.
Correct.
And I was devastated and I cried, and Clark accepted me. And I should have brought my butt here and went to Clark. But I always wanted to go to Spelman my whole life.
Why? You had a mentor or anything?
My dad being here, and I love Georgia, and I just wanted to go to Spelman. That was just my school. My sisters went to Howard.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to Spelman.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that's just what I wanted to do. And then but anyway, got waitlisted. So I didn't get in my mind.
Right.
And instead of listening to somebody say, hey, just go to Clark until, you get in.
Mm-hmm.
No one gave me that advice. No one did anything except for say, Imani, don't get married. That's stupid. And they didn't say why. And I'm the type of person, if you don't talk to me and us work it out vocally, then it's in one ear and out the other.
And then you've been like that your whole life?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got to learn from all my own mistakes, experiences.
That's okay. Okay.
I got to touch the fire. It's hot.
And when's your birthday again?
May 21st.
Okay. That might be a part of that. We won't go into that. Okay. I got you. And so now you do move to Atlanta.
So I come to Atlanta.
You don't move.
I don't move. Okay. I just visit my dad, come chill out, get away from Chicago for a minute.
And what year is this roughly?
This is 2002.
Okay.
Then my husband freaks out and says, oh, baby, come back. Because he thought I had moved.
To Atlanta.
Yeah. But I was just down here chilling for a minute.
Yeah.
And so the day I got back, and I talked to my husband, I conceived my son.
So you missed him.
I messed up.
It's fair to say, right? We can say I might have missed him. What was your son's name?
William.
So William,
after his father.
Okay. What's the middle name?
Scott.
William,
after me.
Well, okay.
Because I'm my dad's only child.
Okay.
So he doesn't have any sons, so I had to do William Scott.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that though.
Yeah.
So you have William.
Yeah.
So now you've got 2 kids.
Yes.
How old are you now when the William is born?
I am 20. Yeah. I'm 21. No, I'm 20.
Do you come back to Atlanta? You stay in Chicago?
I come back to Chicago and now I'm stuck in Chicago because now I'm pregnant. Mm-hmm. And by that time, I realized I didn't want to have any more kids with that man. That was my husband.
Yeah.
And that this was about to end.
So you get a divorce?
So I stayed for a while, a couple of years. William was 2 when we finally moved to Atlanta.
So you're 23, 24-ish, right around there.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do when you get down here? And then also throughout this time, where are you in your disease process?
So in my disease, I am getting sick maybe quarterly.
Which to me isn't bad.
Not bad at all. Yeah. I'm doing better than a lot of sickle cell patients.
Absolutely.
And I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
If I only did that 4 times a year, okay. People are saying, hey, okay, they're trying to come out with this bone marrow to try and cure sickle cell disease. And I'm telling them, it's not worth it for me to go through chemotherapy because I'm not that sick.
Interesting. Okay. So you're saying,
I'm saying the chemotherapy that might kill me, have a 20-30% chance to kill me, and me not be here for my 2 and now 4-year-old is not worth me finding out more than what I already know about bone marrow transplant to possibly curing sickle cell. Then it was like possibly.
yes, and that is actually something that we're still fighting a lot. And it's interesting to hear you say it, because that's one of the things we're talking about. I know where I am. I know what I got with what I got. And so if you're
I was comfortable with my disease.
In this space.
Like, I was like, hey, I've been born with it.
Yeah.
I got to go to the hospital 4 times a year.
Yeah.
I can do that.
And so that.
And be here for my children.
For as long as whatever that meant, versus the idea of I take something that could end me tomorrow.
Right.
And I not know how much longer I'm going to get, even if it does work.
Right. And then my kids have to watch me basically shrivel up and almost die.
Yeah.
To see if I get better, and I may not get better.
And to be fair, a lot of people don't even get better.
Right.
And so that's something we kind of been pumping.
Yeah.
For a while. It's just been it's so interesting to hear someone else. I just had this conversation this morning, really about my grandfather who was 99. And it's what you said is something that I wish we could have told him before he went through his procedure. It wasn't chemo, but that idea it resonates across the board. And I think that my question to you is, were the doctors transparent with you about that? Or how did you come to that decision?
Well, I did my own research.
Which was no Google back then.
Which was finding out from the Sickle Cell Center.
Okay.
And talking to the doctors and kind of pulling it out of them, because they weren't trying to give just information about this cure.
Right.
You know, they were real hush about it.
Well, and maybe they didn't know. Right.
Right. So I guess everybody's getting their information and their ducks in a row, because everybody, all my friends and family are calling me. They're saying it's a cure for sickle cell. It's a cure for sickle cell. First person I thought of is you. Thank you. But, the broad picture of things. No, I'll take the 4 hospitalizations.
Yeah, sure. You know what you're getting with that.
I know what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You happy with that decision today?
100%. Oh, yeah, at that time, for sure.
So you don't do that procedure. You're 24.
No.
What do you do next?
I'm 24, which brings me to Grady.
Atlanta.
Downtown. So I leave my husband, blah, 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 blah.
You still got your 2 kids?
Still got my 2 kids.
But now, okay.
I leave my husband. I didn't get a divorce. I just left.
Okay.
All right. So I moved to Atlanta. I tell my dad, hey, I need a month. Let me live with you for a month, and then I'm out.
And he gave you a month?
He gave me a month. He gave me longer than a month.
Of course. You're the daughter, of course.
But he had a girlfriend at the time, and she was doing little slick stuff. So I was like, oh, it's definitely time to go.
It's not worth it. I get it. No, I get it. At a certain
I get
point,
it.
like,
one clean per castle. I'm not trying to be here.
Yeah.
I've been living on my own since I was 18. So I don't desire to be in my father's house.
Were you working?
Well, of course not when I first moved, because I didn't have a job.
Right.
I gave up. Actually, I got fired from my job at Bank of America, where I worked in Chicago, because of absences due to when I was sick. And this is when I slowly started realizing that I can't have a corporate America job with this disease.
Which is sad.
Which is very sad, because I loved that job.
What were you doing there?
I was just working in customer service, but I just loved
It
it.
gave you purpose.
It gave me purpose, and I had worked as a bank teller in high school for TCF Bank inside of the little jewels and stuff.
Familiar. Yeah.
And then I wanted to work for Bank of America. So I applied and applied and applied and finally got that job at their corporate downtown Chicago. And I loved that job. Almost killed myself trying to go to that job.
Yeah.
Taking the bus and all types of foolishness.
In Chicago.
In Chicago.
No comment. If you know,
downtown,
you know.
From the suburbs.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So taking the train and the bus.
Yeah.
But so but anyway, I later had an EEOC case, which I won.
Okay.
With them.
And
they offered me my job back, but at that point it was just like
you were hurt. Yeah. And I do want to say, because I don't want to, I know people how they take things, right? And I think at that time we're struggling with really understanding this sickle cell thing, right? I'm
struggling with adulting.
Yeah.
The normal stuff of being an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Then the normal stuff of being a young mother, wife, and my disease.
Yeah. And to be fair, would it be fair to say that Bank of America, while they did make that decision, they really didn't have enough information at that time. And so to them, similar to maybe being in school, you might say, hey, well, you just have a lot of absences and we don't understand sickle cell, so we're kind of just...
I mean, whether you understand sickle cell or not, if you see someone's absences line up with hospital paperwork, then they were in the hospital.
Yeah.
You know, so it doesn't take understanding my disease to understand that, hey, if she's in the hospital, obviously she cannot work, and obviously it's serious.
Yeah. And so you did take that documentation back to them, so they knew.
That's why I won my case.
Okay. And so this age, you're 24 still, or you're about 26? How old are you now?
No. I am. This was beforehand, so this was like 22, 23.
Okay, but this were you here? So this is not.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I wasn't here yet.
Okay, you're still in Chicago. Wow. And cause we still hear stories of that today. People who have too many, particularly with schools, right? Because schools kick people out with too many absences as well.
Correct.
So this is very interesting.
I had that problem with teachers as well.
They didn't believe you. They didn't understand.
They didn't understand. Well, my syllabus says you can only miss so many days. And what am I supposed to do with that when I'm in the hospital?
And your mom was a teacher, correct? My mom was a teacher too. So I kind of, my mom taught at Robert Lawrence in Chicago, actually. Where did your mother teach?
Beasley.
Oh, your mother taught at Beasley? Yeah.
And I went to Beasley.
Okay.
Yes, Lord.
Yes. You know. God bless Beasley. Although I do think Derrick Rose went there for whatever.
Now, I will say this. The principal at Beasley, when I had most of my time there, was Miss McLemore. And Miss McLemore was the only principal that ever came to see me in the hospital.
Shout out Miss McLemore.
Anybody who ever saw me in the hospital, I never had a problem out of them.
Because they understood it.
Yep.
But you got to care enough to go see you.
Yeah.
And Bank of America, you're saying they never came and saw you in the hospital
No,
at all?
of course not.
Yeah.
No, of course not.
Miss McLemore, was she African American? Do you think that played a part in her wanting to understand what was going on?
I think she wanted to understand because it was such a unique situation. It's like you've got the student and you've got their mother. You know, their mother is an educator, and you've also got this student with this disease that you don't see all the time. And I really think she came out of curiosity probably in the beginning, but really it just broke her heart at the time that she saw what you actually go through. Me hooked up to all the machines and
Mhm.
still trying to
As a
do my
child.
homework as a child. Yeah, I think that ultimately just
Put it into
broke her
perspective.
down. Yeah, and put it into perspective. And I know she did the best she could to help my mom after that.
And we need more Miss McLemore.
Yes, we do.
God knows
Yes,
we
we
need
do.
more Miss McLemores,
Yes, we
because
do.
that is and Miss McLemore needs to be in every facet of life, not just in school, but at
Yeah.
work, at church, everywhere. We need people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's special.
Yeah.
That really is special. And from there, because now I do want to make sure that I understand where we are, and you have 2 children, 24,
I
you're
have
in
2
Atlanta,
children.
you're looking
Now
for a
I'm
job,
24. I'm looking for a job.
living with dad.
I'm living with dad, and I find this fashion designer that works for all the NBA players.
Okay.
And I become her personal assistant,
Okay.
which is great.
Okay.
And basically, I do whatever she needs, and plus she does all the custom men's suits. This is when the NBA had the dressing thing,
Allen Iverson.
where they all switched over to wearing suits and stuff. She did all the suits for the NBA players.
I feel like that was an Allen Iverson thing, because he was just coming, really giving them that gear, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, nah, we can't have this. We got to get people more uniform.
Yeah.
And so that's when she kind of hit it big, I'm taking it.
Oh, yeah.
She
was very busy.
Okay.
She was booked and busy.
Okay.
And she was a black queen, too.
How'd you meet her?
I don't even know.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't even know how I ended up meeting her. I don't know if I answered an ad, or I don't know what I did, but I was heavy job looking.
Yeah.
And so I was her personal assistant. I would take the fabric swatches to their big, beautiful houses all out in Alpharetta and everywhere. And a lot of times my kids would be in the car.
The 2 kids would be in the car?
With their snacks and their little snack
Single
pack
mom
in
life.
there.
We got to get it. We got to get it. We got to get it.
Yeah. So, and I'd go over there and drop off whatever fabric samples, and then come back and pick them up and pick out whatever it is they want and do their measurements, and then go on about my way and do all her other errands.
Whew.
Yeah.
And how old are we now?
We're still like 24.
We're still having just 4 hospitalizations a year.
Mm-hmm.
So we're comfortable.
We're doing good.
I love to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's all about perspective.
Yeah.
That really is all about perspective. When you can say confidently, 4 hospitalizations for me was a great year.
Oh, yeah.
Phenomenal year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quarterly, I could do all day long.
You can function.
I can function all day long quarterly.
And that allows you to have a job. It allows you to grow your family.
Mm-hmm.
So now you've got these 2 kids. They're going to school. You're going to work.
Yeah. So, right before school starts for them, kindergarten and pre-K, I met my second husband.
Okay.
And he won me over because I got sick. I didn't know him that well. We met in July.
Mm-hmm.
By April, we bought a house together.
This is serious. Yeah, that's serious. That's serious.
He won me over because I knew him about maybe a month.
And you had an episode.
I had an episode.
And what did he do?
I had to go to the hospital. At this time, I was going to Grady.
Shout out to Grady. Man.
Shout out to Grady. Shout out to Dr. Ekman at the time.
Okay.
He was excellent. He ran the sickle cell program over at Grady.
Okay.
He's legendary.
Yeah.
In the sickle cell world.
Grady's
so
program is legendary in my opinion.
Knows that. So he it was picture day. You know, they have picture day at the beginning of the year. And my daughter's hair was a mess because I wasn't, I was in the hospital. She needed her hair done. They needed picture day outfits, for all the things. And he picked them up and I didn't have to worry about a thing.
How do you trust him? It's just 1 month.
Man, it was no choice.
Okay.
It was no other option.
I was just curious. Yeah. Okay. If not, they're going to be stuck at school.
It was just really no other option. I didn't have anybody else that could have done it.
Yeah.
And this is at a time where Grady had threatened to call Child Protective Services on me before because I had come up there with my children in crisis and had to stay. They have an acute care center.
Mm-hmm.
So you go, you get treated, and then hopefully you won't have to stay.
Yeah.
That if you catch it early enough, sometimes you can avoid a hospitalization, which is always a good thing.
Right.
Sometimes it's just a pain crisis, and then it simmers down, and you can go home.
Okay.
I was hoping for that. It was not that, and I'm admitted, and somebody has to pick up my children, and I didn't have anybody to pick up my children, and I was devastated. They said, we're going to call Child Protective Services if you can't figure it out. So I discharged myself and went home.
And for people who don't know what discharge yourself means, they have to say that I'm going against the will of the doctors and their advice, and you have to physically sign a piece of paper that says, I'm leaving.
Yep.
And that's what you had to do.
Yep.
And you did that while still in crisis in what I'm thinking, because you had to get those kids taken care of.
Yeah.
Which is something, a whole nother different set of problems outside of just having sickle cell.
Right.
So, but this man, this was your second husband, or was your second husband.
Well, he wasn't my husband at the time, but yeah, my second husband, he said, hey, I'm going to help you get this together. And I had a good feeling about it. I had to trust him.
You had to trust him.
And that's what I had to do.
You had to lean on faith once again.
That's what I had to do.
You had to lean on faith. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he does this. He takes care of this for you, and you're able to be discharged, but you're still in a crisis. So
no, these were two separate incidents.
Okay.
So when I went home, I just went home off that because I was not going to let Child Protective Services take my kids because I'm in crisis. Yeah. It just wasn't ever going to happen.
This is one of those things where healthcare has these rules, these regulations and policies and things that they want us to follow. Mm-hmm. But everything is just too black and white. Mm-hmm. And you were in this gray area because while the rule might say if someone can't take care of their children, we got to call and get them some help. Mm-hmm. The help should not be taking my kids away. But ideally, as a case manager, social worker, they're really stuck in a hard place there. Mm-hmm. And healthcare, for whatever reason, because I don't want people to think that the social workers are just terrible people. Mm-hmm. They really don't have a gray area as much as people think. Mm-hmm. They really have to go by these rules. Yeah. So it really left you no choice but to sign yourself out of the hospital. Right. Which I think most mothers would do. Yeah. Because you put your children first, no matter what's going on with you. Mm-hmm. So now you go on. How old are you at this point? 26, maybe?
No, I'm not that old.
Not that old? Okay.
This is all within a short time period.
A lot happened.
Yeah, a lot happened in a short time period, such as my life. Yeah, so it wasn't long after I got here that I met my second husband. He handled those things for me, and I said, okay, I like that.
Yeah.
I never really had help with my children ever.
Because your first husband, he blacked out
Yeah.
essentially. He said, I
As soon
can't do
as she was born, like,
can't do it.
pick up from the hospital, he
Yeah.
was out of there.
He's young, but yeah, he said, I can't do it.
So I was like, oh, okay. That's what it's like having hope. Okay, I like that. Let's bring some more of that into my life.
Now we get a house.
Yeah. So, well, the very first day my second husband met me, we met at a club. But besides the fact, he was like, I'm gonna marry you, girl. And I was like,
were you scared at
Heard
first?
that
Or is he
one
crazy?
heard that one before. Come up with something original. Please come up with something original. Everybody want to marry me. Tell me something new.
But it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
It worked later.
So you got a house?
Yeah. So
got married?
we got the house April Fool's Day.
April 1st.
April 1st.
Okay.
And we got married August the 8th.
Okay.
8/8 of 2008. We're in 2008 now.
So you've been in Atlanta 6 years. So now you're married again.
Mm-hmm.
Your 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
Does he have any children?
He has one.
So you all living together, blended family?
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Okay.
It was like that. It was like that. His son lived in like further out, and in like a further out city closer to Alabama. But we made it work, and we all were a happy family. I was ecstatic.
Yeah.
Happy family. And we had 10, almost 11 good years.
Do you have any other children with him?
I do. The one you met.
So the Isabella?
Isabella is a child with him.
Got you. So now you have, that's your 3rd kid.
Yes.
Now, the oldest 2, what are they like? What is that like?
So, my older 2 children are my ride or die babies. You know, they've been with me through the struggle.
Yeah, they've seen it firsthand. Yeah.
They've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
They had mama's back before anybody had mama's back.
Yeah, yeah.
So, he completely adopted them and treated them like his children, and still does, even though we're divorced to this day. He's still excellent father.
So they still have a good relationship.
Great relationship.
And where's your daughter now?
My daughter is in Chicago with her fiance.
Okay. How old is she?
Yes. And she took after her mother.
She got married at 18.
No, but she's 23, and but she thank God listens to me.
Mm-hmm.
My children listen to me, and I didn't know that they really listened as hard as they did until they got grown, and then I started seeing what I told them manifest in their life, and that is my biggest flex.
I love that.
That is my biggest
I
flex.
love that.
Because it's like, y'all listen.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because I am the way I am, I explain everything to my children.
Yeah, because you got to have explanation.
I know I have to have an explanation.
We're going to assume that they
back
did
it up.
Okay.
Back it up.
Okay.
So so I said, hey, even when it would come down to them being punished, hey, you were punished because of this.
Right.
That's not acceptable.
Okay. And that's your daughter. What about your son?
My son, the same thing. Unfortunately, my son passed away from a pulmonary embolism, a blood clot that went from his leg to his brain and killed him instantly. On April the 19th, 2 years ago.
2022 or 23?
20, what are we in?
This is 25.
So 23.
23.
Mm-hmm.
How old was he?
19.
Was he
and
living?
he was at Northern Illinois.
Northern Illinois.
Yeah, he went to Northern.
Are they the Huskies? What? They are? Okay. Okay. So, and he.
No health problems, just boom. Just never know what will happen in life.
How was that?
Horrifying.
Yeah.
My worst nightmare. My only son. I'm still grieving. I recently had what I did was take all my emotion from it and survive, because that's what I do. I'm a survivor.
You've been surviving your whole life.
And I've been surviving my whole life. And I think that a couple of months ago, it just really, I have my good days and my bad.
It ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
So, and
grief is crazy.
Grief is brutal.
Yeah.
It's brutal. And you don't know when it's going to hit you. Just like that sickle cell pain. You have no clue. And you can be minding your business, picking up your grits. I was
minding my business, and I had a snap in March. And my hemoglobin was very, very low. And then so low, I started hallucinating.
When you say March, is in March of this year?
Just happened.
So this just happened?
Just this past March.
Okay.
And my hemoglobin was very, very low, like 2.7. Mm-hmm. Most people's hemoglobin is somewhere around 14. Mm-hmm. I run my hemoglobin on the regular right now at about a 6, 7 to be okay. Mm-hmm. 2 is too low.
It is.
And I just had I got upset one day and I was grieving, and I just had like a hemoglobin low and a psychotic just break.
What happened?
I was hysterical. So I remember parts of it. I remember it like a dream. I don't really remember every piece and part of it. But if I don't get the hemoglobin, and it gets too low too long, it's not a good situation.
You are so strong.
Yeah.
Even like talking to you about this and you having the strength to, because I always say, and I said this before, at any point you can stop everything, and you're able to talk about this even with what you're going through. And I guess my next question for you, and pretty much for anyone will probably be asking, this level of stress, grief, how has that affected you over the past 3 years with your own conditions?
In the past 5 years, I've gotten divorced, which was not something that I wanted to do.
Sure.
But nonetheless necessary for mine and his growth. Mm-hmm. Our son died. Right before our son died, I was in intensive care days before, dealing with these health issues, dealing with a new health issue, which is the kidney disease. All of this has happened in 5 years.
So now when you say new health issue, which is the kidney disease, they believe that, which we see happen, someone who is on narcotics for long periods of time, they do have what we would call kidney failure or end-stage renal failure, ESRD is what we refer to it as. Mm-hmm. And that's where you are now.
Yes.
So what does that look like for you on a daily basis?
So on a daily basis, I wake up first thing in the morning. That's the first thing I have to do is my dialysis.
What time do you wake up?
It depends on what time I wake up. Usually I'm up by 7 o'clock because I have to get my daughter, ready for school and stuff like that.
I met
she
Isabella.
Doesn't take too much to get ready. She's a very independent queen. If God made all my children like Isabella, I probably would have 10.
And it's so funny because I walk in the front door it's like you were downstairs, you were on dialysis when I come in.
Yeah.
And this little girl walks up, right?
Mm-hmm.
She said, "Hey." Hi. She said, "Hey, you guys want any water or juice or anything?" I said, "Hey, I'm Henry. Who are you? You know, who are you?" You know. She says, "Oh, I'm Isabella, and my mom sent me up here to ask you." And I was like, "Oh my God, just the sweetest little girl ever."
She's the sweetest.
She was just so sweet and welcoming, and she never seen me before, I don't think, right?
No.
Whatever you need, well, mom said she'll be shortly. And I was like,
yeah.
Is she, how old is she now?
Isabella's 12. She'll be 13 in a couple of days.
When's her birthday?
The 22nd.
Of April.
Mm-hmm.
Remind me of that.
Okay.
We got her. What's her favorite thing? What is she like?
Her favorite thing? Right now, she's very into crocheting.
So making things.
Yeah.
Okay.
She likes to make things. She's very... I call her sweet stuff because she's just made of just goodness.
She is. She
like
really.
She's like, I said, don't look at her. She'll trick you into having kids. Look at those other two I raised.
That's interesting. Everybody has
they were
one.
tag teaming me in my 20s. But I was strong then to deal with it. God only gives you what you can handle. He knew I was not built for that road.
He'll never give you more than you can bear. Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. Is she kind of like a caregiver now? What's that like? Is there pressure on her, the 12-year-old?
Yes. And I feel very guilty about that. I feel very guilty about that because I want to give her the childhood that my oldest daughter got. She got to do cheerleading. You know, we went all around the United States doing cheer with her from 9 to about 15 till she got out of high school. She was a cheerleader.
What does Isabella want to do that you feel like she can't do?
Well, I just enrolled her in dance. She loves hip hop dance and she's a natural. And I was a ballerina, so it makes sense. Finally got my dancer, and it's like I'm not strong enough to even take her to lessons.
How often are her lessons?
They're just once a week.
How far are they from here?
About 15 minutes.
Okay.
So it's not bad, but I just signed her up for the rest of the school year, and then her dad's gonna sign her up. He lives far out in LaGrange, Georgia. I don't know if you know where that is.
I'm familiar with it, yeah.
Okay. So he lives out there. So when she goes out there for the summer, we just agreed that she was gonna go out there and spend the summer with him this summer.
But do you need her to help take care of you? Like, is she actually like a caregiver?
Yeah.
So you do need her. What do you need her to do?
A number of things depending on the day. I just got some blood recently, so I'm doing okay right now.
Transfusion? Okay.
But some days cook.
The 12-year-old?
Yeah, and she's been cooking since a long time.
So she know what's going on. She know how to get down in that kitchen by now.
Yeah. Cleaning, bathing, walking, it just depends on the day.
If you could have one precious wish for Isabella, because I know you're a very selfless mom, what would that be? Just what would it be?
I try and give Bella whatever she wants.
Yeah. So how is she able to get to the classes now?
Either I take her or her grandfather takes her.
Okay, so she does go.
Yeah.
Once a week.
Yeah, she does go. That's what's most important right now because another thing she wants to do is modeling, which I used to do too.
You are 6 feet tall.
I am 6 feet tall. And I probably would have had a modeling career if if it wasn't for my disease. But you shoot for the opposite season, and I can't do that. So,
why is that?
No, I can't shoot a swimwear commercial in the winter. because that's when it's shot.
And you can't be outside.
Because I can't be
And you
outside in
definitely
any
can't be
kind of
wet.
weather.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, so I can't do a swimwear in the winter for the next season. So things like that have made it difficult.
That's interesting because at your height and your smile, which is obviously just amazing,
Thank
right?
you.
For me, some people's smile make you smile, like some yawn makes you yawn. Your smile makes me smile. It's
Good.
really infectious, if you will. I
Thank
just would
you.
wonder, like, there has to be something that would be so interesting to see you in some type of. Have you done a photo shoot before? Or
I
how?
was actually supposed to be on the first season of America's Next Top Model.
No way.
Yeah, I was.
Huh.
That's a whole nother story for another
The other day,
time.
I got you. I got you. But I do want to make sure. And so Isabella,
Mhm.
she does get to go to dance class
Uh-huh.
once a week.
Yeah.
She's in school Monday through Friday.
Uh-huh.
What, 9 to 5 or what? What school hours?
Yeah, just no, not 9 to 5, but she's there almost all day.
All day.
Uh-huh. Yeah, almost that.
Then she gets out of school, she has to help mom,
Yeah.
then do her homework.
Yep.
So she's kind of pushed into, for lack of a better word, an adult role.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do as an adult. I have a
Yep.
3-year-old, right? So if he goes to school, I go to work, come home, you still got to do stuff for him, but she has to do stuff for mom.
Mm-hmm.
And you say you feel guilty about that.
Oh, yeah. Because I just want her to be a kid.
You want her to be a kid?
Yeah, I just want her to be a kid.
Is there anything that could be done to give her some sense of?
I think we're doing it with the dance classes.
I agree.
Like I said, she wants to do the modeling. I think a photo shoot would be something that's what I'm going to try and work on next.
Where would she do it?
The
house is beautiful. I feel like there's enough space in
Thank
here.
you. I mean, she could do it anywhere. I just you know, just want to get her a photographer and some comp cards so that she can. I said when she was 12,
Mm-hmm.
I was going to start working on her modeling
Mm-hmm.
because going into the teen, you just have a different, just a different perspective, and then you can go into some of the more adult arenas, even though you're a teen.
Sure.
You can go into the more adult arenas of actually seeing if you want to do it,
And what would that take to do this? Is it what type of investment would it take?
A few $100. It wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to get her some comp cards.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have this thing, and I never know when we're gonna do it. Right? We just kind of happens, and we took someone to a Falcons game. This thing called Precious Wishes. And so what we normally do is we take our hospice patients to places. So we took a patient to a Falcons game. Never have we done anything for a family member. And I think this will be the first time that we're going to do something for, you're not on hospice or anything. I don't want anybody to think that, but I'm going to make sure we get that done for
I
her.
love that.
Yeah, I
Thank
got you.
you.
I'll take care of that.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll take care of that. And I actually think we got a photographer here.
Awesome.
So yeah, we'll talk until I'll set that up for you.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we got to get her hair done, makeup done.
Yeah.
We'll take care of all of that because I want her to have that experience, particularly where her mom have been an opportunity to not model. If she can at least get her foot in the door, yeah, we'll do that. We'll make that a precious wish for her. We'll do that for you.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll
Thank
get on
you
that.
so
I'll
much.
get on that. And I guess for us, the most important thing or the number one thing that I wanted to do was for people to understand where you are now. You talked about having a blood transfusion.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you go into the hospital now, typically with blood transfusions, how long are you in the hospital?
Wow. Usually at least a week.
Why so long?
Because it takes at least 4 days to find the antibodies that are in my blood. So I'm O positive.
Okay.
So not only do they have to be O positive, which is rare, but they also have to have all these different antibodies. Now, every time I get a transfusion from someone else with a new antibody, now I have another antibody. I've had hundreds of transfusions.
Mhm.
So you can imagine the antibodies.
So this isn't
They
one
go
person.
on like AR,
Yeah.
Y, whatever.
Mhm.
And so, no, this is not one person donating to me. This is multiple people wherever I can get it. And at this point, it's not even an exact match. It's just as close as they can get it.
Is there anything that could be done? Like, is there any procedure that could be done that you know of that would eliminate you having to get these transfusions?
Not that I know. They do not know why my hemoglobin keeps dropping,
Mhm.
other than the fact that I have sickle cell. But they don't know why it drops. So until they figure out why it drops, or until they figure out why it drops and are able to stop it from dropping,
Mhm.
the only thing I can do to survive is get a blood transfusion.
And because there's no specific type of blood for you, and it changes over time, it's not like we can go find somebody and this person just do it for you.
Well, that is a possibility.
Okay, explain that.
If they are close enough to me,
Okay.
to what my blood type with my antibodies, maybe I could get a person
Mhm.
or two people or three people that I can be in constant donation with, so that those antibodies do not change and they can donate specifically to
To
me.
you. Now, is that a common thing?
No.
So is that likely to happen at all?
It's been hard. I've been trying to talk to the Red Cross as far as getting something set up where you can do individual blood donation. I haven't been successful so far as to getting that.
Seem like you should be able to do that if I can.
And
Yeah.
they are saying that it's possible,
Yeah.
but they are not. I don't know if they necessarily have the framework, or I'm just not talking to the right people, or what exactly is the missing key.
So, because
to get
technically,
it all put together.
if we found 2 or 3 people, with what exactly do they need to have?
O positive blood for starters.
Okay.
And then they would have to go get their blood tested, which they can do at the Red Cross, and to see if it's a match with mine.
And how do they know if it's a match with yours?
That is the thing that I'm trying to work with the Red Cross to see if we can make that a possibility where specific people can just donate just to me.
Because there are a lot of people out here that
There
are
are a
like
lot
you.
of people.
So if they did that just for you, then I now I understand the logistics and the difficulty in making that happen. But what if you were able to reach a person directly?
That would be fantastic. They could go to the Red Cross and donate their blood, and find out how to get it basically saved for me, because I'm going to use it. It started off every 30, 45 days that I was going in the hospital, but now it's about every 20 days. So my time period is getting shorter and shorter in between transfusions.
And because of what you need and the difficulty in finding that, do you suspect your hospital stays will actually get longer because you need more transfusions?
Right. And the more antibodies, the harder it is to
find.
match.
So if there's anything that any of us could do, it would literally just be try to find someone. And I don't know the legalities of that or what that looks like, but
Well, it would be just donate blood, because not only is blood donation low
yeah.
for me and people like me, um, just not even specifically for me, but specifically for me, I'm trying to get it set up now with the Red Cross that people can donate and say, hey, if she's a match for me, then maybe we can keep this relationship going.
Seems to me that if I'm giving blood, I should be able to some degree, say where I like for that blood to go. No different.
Makes sense to me.
Makes sense to you. And I guess then the real conversation is the source, because you're the one that needs it, versus if we found someone who had it, if they vouch for it, maybe then we'd have a better opportunity. So that's what we'll do.
Okay.
We'll try to find somebody. We'll do the best we can. And I think it's definitely worth a shot. I think for us and everything that we're trying to do, and I'm also going to go give blood next week.
Thank you.
I've done it once.
Okay.
And it was not terrible, like I was expecting it to be.
It's not horrible
at all. Well, it's actually not bad at all. Be honest, right?
No.
Little orange juice right after, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I think if we can convince more people to kind of give blood, then we could increase the likelihood that more people have access to it.
Right.
Okay, so we'll leave them with that. And I think that is there any lasting thing you like for them to know?
People like me are reliant upon blood donation. People with sickle cell disease, as well as other diseases, need your blood donation, and it's gone down significantly since COVID, and we are feeling it. The people that need it are feeling it in real time. This makes a difference of whether I'm here for my daughters or not. And it's real. And a little time out of your day could be the difference between me or someone like me going into the hospital and being able to come home to their children. It's really that serious.
I appreciate that. And I want to appreciate everyone for taking the time. And again, as you know, this is Healthcare Stories with Healthcare Henry, and we want to thank Imani for taking the time. I really just want to call you Faith. It's something in me, like I just want to thank Faith for giving us this time, and more importantly, listen to what she says. If you can give blood, and think about what she said as well. The idea of being able to give it to a very specific person. Again, if there's anything that we can do, if you want to reach out to us at Healthcare Henry, you can. We're not going to give Imani's phone number out, of course, but you can call me or text me 404-992-5088. And if you get in touch with me, I'll do whatever we can to make things happen. We appreciate you and we love y'all. Peace.